Hello everyone. In this video we'll talk about AWS S3, which is simple storage service. So we'll try to understand how to download a file from S3. So now AWS has different storage layers like Elastic Block Storage, Elastic File System, S3 Glacier, S3, right? So where they have different storage layers. So we'll be more focusing on S3, right? So now we'll see how to upload a file in S3 bucket as we just discussed, which is nothing but the bucket is nothing but a folder, right? So obviously, right, so when I want to perform some operation on AWS cloud, like the services like S3, Lambdas, the few other services, right, we need some API to perform the operations like upload, download, delete, etc. in S3, right? For that, AWS has provided an API, maybe we can also call it SDK, software development kit, called Boto3, right? So with the help of Boto3, we can access any AWS services like S3, Lambda, etc., right? So now obviously when I want to upload a file into S3 using Boto3 package, obviously we need to pass the credentials like username and password, right? So do you think the storing the username and password in the code is the best option, right? So in the next in my previous video where we talked about Twitter streaming, right, we are not storing the Twitter credentials, right? We are storing the access key, security key, all those things, right? So we also need, the similar thing like the keys, secret key, access key, right, to talk to different AWS services with the help of Boto3, right? So now we'll try to create the access key for us, right? So and we'll see how to do it in AWS console. So now this is my AWS console. Let me go to IAM. We'll go to users. We'll create one user. I already have a user. This is the user which I'm using. So just for your understanding, we are just creating how to get those details. If you see, we have two options, right? One is the AWS management console, which will give a user to log into AWS console and perform operations, right? So if I select this, with this particular user, right, he can log into the AWS console, he can do whatever you want. So we have one more option called programmatic access, which will give the access to the user to use AWS services via CLI using Boto3 from programmatically, right? So he will not be able to log into AWS console. So we are more worried about the programmatic access, right? So the next permission, so we can use the existing policies. For this particular user, what we need is S3, Amazon S3 full access, which means he can read, write, delete. What are the operations which we can do, which the Boto3 allows us to do, we can do it. And we can create a user. Yeah. So here's where for AWS we need the access key ID and the secret access key, right? So you can also download the data from here. So the same credentials, right? Let me delete this user, the test demo. Once this is done, again there are two different ways where you can use this credentials, which you just seen, the secret key and access key. One, you can hardcode these things in the Python code as we seen for the Twitter data, that's for the Twitter stream code. The second way is we can store it in somewhere safely in the operating system. For that we need to install AWS CLI package. I'll provide that whatever you need to install in the description. So once that package is installed, so what we need to do is we need to open the command prompt, right, and type AWS configure, right. So here we need to provide the access key, the secret access key, and the region which we are using. So we are using US East 1, if you see here in the browser URL, and what format is not that important. So So now the access key and the secret key is stored in our operating system. Now from this system, I can perform whatever I want with the help of Boto3, right? As I said, before we want to run this AWS configure, we should make sure we need to install AWS CLI package, like pip install AWS CLI, right? Now let's create one bucket S3. So here we can create a bucket. I'll show you some interesting thing now. Now let's give some name called test, right? And which region my bucket should belongs to. This region is nothing but the AWS data centers, right? So there are a lot many things, we are not worried about those, right? Now let's try to create a bucket. You see the bucket with the same name already exists. We'll go back and see if the test is already there in our list. You see the test is not there, but it still says that the bucket is already available, which means, so whenever you're creating the bucket in S3, that name is unique across the different AWS account in this region. Let's say you have some other some AWS account which you already created the bucket name with the test, then I cannot create it. As I said, this name is unique across the accounts, right? The universal accounts. So now let's try to create a bucket with some name, we'll try to create some unique name and create a bucket. It's creating. Yeah, if you open this bucket, you can see the files or data which you uploaded. Oh, okay, not this. I think we created some other bucket. Yeah, this is the one we created. Let's open this. Yeah, so we don't have any data, so right, so if you try to right click it, we'll just try to see if we have any option to create a subfolder, right? No, so there is no option to create a subfolder, right? So we have only option to the main folder. Now that's obviously the problem, right? So we'll see, obviously we'll have some workaround, we'll see how to overcome this, right? So now obviously I need to import Boto3. So if you see 3 is nothing but this, so we have Boto and Boto3, two different packages, or SDKs from AWS. So Boto is for Python 2, Boto3 is for Python 3, right? So now I need to create an object S3 is equal to Boto3 dot client. So now here I'll mention to which AWS service I want to connect. Let's say if I want to connect to RDS, I'll mention RDS. If I want to connect to DynamoDB, one of the NoSQL services, I'll mention DynamoDB here, right? It depends on my use case. So now I need to upload the data in S3. S3 dot put object. Now we need a body, our actual data, right? I'll say test data, right? The name of the bucket, CKET, name of the bucket. Let me go here and copy this, right? And the key is nothing but your file name. Maybe I'll say test.txt. Let me run this. Okay, this maybe this K should be capital. It's success. Let's go to S3 console. I'm just refreshing here. Yeah, now we got the data. Let's try to open it and see what's there. Test data. Now we'll see how we can create a subfolders, right? It's very straightforward. Luckily, what we can do is maybe we'll say demo data slash. Now let's run this and go back to S3 console and see how it looks like. Did you see? It created a folder. Inside this, you can see the file which we uploaded. Great. And now why we need to create a subfolders? There are many use cases, obviously. So for our use cases, for Twitter and sentiment analysis, so how my data, I want to store my data in such a way, right? I should have a year as my root folder, and inside an year I should have a month as a subfolder, and inside a month I'll have a date wise. For this particular date, how many tweets I got. For this particular date, how many tweets I got, right? So obviously, if we have such kind of structure, then it will be very easy to track, right? Let's say if I want to tweet which is posted somewhere around August 2nd, I can simply navigate to that folder structure. I can see it, right? So the folder structure is very important, obviously, right? So when we are during our college days, right? So when we are storing the movies, right, we'll create movies. Inside the movies, we'll create Hollywood, Bollywood, Tollywood. Inside that, we'll copy the respective movies the similar way, right? So hope you enjoyed this video. In our next video, we'll try to complete our the Twitter data, Twitter streaming analysis wherever we left. So we just extracted the data and printed it. Now whatever the data we extracted, we'll try to upload into the S3, right? So hope you enjoyed this video. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thank you.